The only person you should be comparing yourself to is the person that you were yesterday. I've had a couple clients come in over the last week talking about how they were comparing themselves to other people and they felt like they were lacking in certain areas and that they weren't good enough. And so we had to get in the conversation about how you cannot compare yourself to other people because you are not other people. So you have different strengths and different weaknesses than them, and that makes you unique. And that's what makes you successful.
So kind of going off what Christina just said, comparison kills, honestly. As an athlete, as a pitcher, you need to recognize and value what you bring to the table. And I've said it before, but softball and pitching, any sport would be so boring if we all did the same thing. So softball would be so boring if every pitcher pitched the same. That would suck. And honestly, if you have a staff full of pitchers that all pitch the same thing, like you're going to lose because hitters are going to catch up to you and, you know, all that whole side of things. Playing the comparison game, like when you're on a team, is especially damaging because you want other pitchers on your team and on your staff to do good. Like you're playing a team sport, right? And so it's good to have a diverse staff because let's just say like someone starts getting lit up, you can bring in a completely different look. So there's going to be situations where, you know, you're coming in for a pitcher or you're the pitcher that's coming out of the game. But obviously in either situation, you want to cheer on your teammate or you want your teammate to cheer for you. And if you're stuck comparing yourself to people, especially the people that are on your team, it's just not going to be a very enjoyable experience.
And then with recruiting also, coaches want to look for different style of pitchers. They don't want every pitcher to throw 65 and have the same pitches because, like Nicole just said, everybody's going to be the same. Once a team catches on, they're done. So if you maybe don't throw as hard, but you have a crazy spin rate and like a great rise ball that you can go to and a good off speed, and your teammate throws 65 and is all down, that is such a deadly combination. You create such a great tandem within the team that you could split every game and teams would just not be able to adjust because it's such a different look. So especially with speed is a big one that girls compare with others. And so long as you're throwing as hard as you can at that moment in time, that's enough.
I think also there is a line between like comparing and also like, how do I put this? Almost like gaining inspiration from teammates, like, or like collaborating with your teammates. So there's times where it's easy for me to acknowledge like another pitcher on the staff. Oh, your curveball is like really good. How do you release it? Which finger do you feel like it comes off of? Like asking questions, and like that's okay because you're not saying like you're not beating yourself up about something. That's just you wanting to learn. So that is always, learning is always accepted and is good for you. You should always be learning, but it just, like we said before, is damaging when you start comparing yourself to other pitchers.
What you should be doing is comparing yourself to where you were 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. One, I mean, the main reason really is just to see how far you've come, because a lot of times we feel like we've plateaued and we haven't gotten better. And if you really look back, you'll see that there has been a huge change. Or I was having a conversation with one of my pitchers this last week, and she's a freshman, and she was talking about this junior pitcher who's 18 months older than her. And she's like, well, it's only 18 months. Like I should be way further along than I am now. I'm like, think about where you were 18 months ago and how far you've come in 18 months. And it was just like the light bulb went off. She's like, oh yeah, I guess that is a lot of time. And I guess a lot can happen in that time, which is exactly the case.
Mm-hmm. Also, that kind of reminds me of a quote I just saw where it's like, if you're disappointed in your progress, it might be because you keep raising the bar for yourself. So you're still like growing, you're still getting better. But I mean, it's human nature to like, you know, your biggest self-critic, but it is very, and honestly, you should be looking back at where you were to see the amount of growth that you've had. Another way that you can do this too, I'm gonna keep stressing the pitching journals because they're so important. It's such a great tool. But even if you're thinking of like a specific game, for instance, like, oh, I haven't pitched like that in forever. Like, I wish I could feel that again. Writing in a pitching journal after any game or any performance, good or bad, going into detail about how you felt, what your mentality was, what you were thinking, whatever, is such a great tool. Like, go into as much detail as you can. And then so in the future, if you're wondering, what was I doing during this game where I felt so good, you can literally read what you wrote, and hopefully that will help you kind of feel the groove again. It's a great tool, and I will never stop recommending it.
And another thing you can do to piggyback off the journal is everybody uses Game Changer now. We have footage from pretty much every single game we play. When you have a game where you just threw lights out, save that. Save that footage so you can go back and watch how you move. Watch how you watch how you move during your pitch. Watch how you move between your pitches. Watch your body language. Watch your tempo. And then you can see what your pitches were doing and how you were attacking or placing the ball or whatever it was. And it helps kind of jog your memory and like, oh, okay. And then you have your pitching journal to go with that. It really helps for you to be able to direct yourself to where you want to go. So do your best to forget about comparing yourself to everybody else, especially in like a critical way, because again, the only person you should be comparing yourself to is the person you were yesterday.
Bye.